What is going on, Philadelphia? Welcome to another episode of the Cheap Seats. And I'm going to open this thing up with two questions. My first question is for you, Eagles fans. Is there anything better in the world than when the camera pans the stadium at Jerry World, at AT&T Stadium, and you see nothing but sad and awful looking faces holding their head in their hands? That one girl with eyelashes that look like they belonged in rollers, the guy with the scruffy beard and the cowboy sunglasses just looking sad, Jerry Jones and his son up in the press box knowing that their season, not only this season, but their future is over. Eagles fans, is there anything better than putting down that kind of stomping on the Cowboys and seeing the looks on those cockroaches' faces? And my second question is for Mr. Jason Ashworth. Jason, you wouldn't happen to have that Cowboys hat that you had, the cowboy hat that you had last week?
You better clarify. What I don't have it, no, but
Would you
I have
happen
something
to have,
for you.
Would you happen to have a cowboy hat for me?
I mean, I have something that I think we could make work for you, sir.
Oh, because I know you caught a lot of heat for wearing something like this last week. But here's what we do with it this week, Cowboys. You suck. F you, Jerry Jones, 34-6. Eat that, you Cowboy sons of bitches. And that's the way we're going to start this show. All that and more in this episode of the Cheap Seats. Oh, I forgot to run down the NFC East rankings. Let me look at that one.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Where's the moon?
Where is the moon? I know the moon's out because I'm driving here in the dark.
Christ.
But getting to the NFC East. Oh, look at that, boys and girls. Your Philadelphia Eagles lead the NFC East once again at 7-2. Big matchup against the second place team, the Washington Commanders. Tomorrow at the Link, Cowboys are 3-6 against the Texans on Monday Night Football. Do we really have to be held captive by that? Like, we're just... That is terrible. That is terrible football. And internationally and nationally, thankfully, the New York Giants are on a bye. I want to apologize to the fine folks overseas in Germany. We didn't mean to do that to you and present you with that slop. On behalf of the NFL and Americans everywhere, we apologize. Mr. Jason Ashworth, how you doing?
So, after that little intro,
Had to get it out.
Let's put a bow on it, because that's how we start our show. I'll say this. As much as I appreciated it, a little heads up could go a long way. I had no idea where you were going and what you were going to do. Started having like heart palpitations for a second. You got into it. I appreciate that about you, because the energy was here, and I felt like you brought it up to here in 2.2. And I just want you to know I appreciate that.
That's
about
what we
you.
do, baby.
Good for you.
That's what we do. So you're feeling good after that Eagles win?
You know what, to be honest with you, I'm not feeling any sort of way, because it was boring, and it's good, right? Yeah. It's good, but it was a very boring game. After the first quarter, I think I was not concerned, but I think the first quarter wasn't great. We were a little frustrated, and then I blink after a couple Miller Lights. I blink, and they're blowing the doors off them, and then I'm already looking forward to, which is a very interesting spot, by the way. I'm already looking forward to Thursday night. Here we are on a Wednesday night. We got a Thursday night game. It's a little different situation for us, but I found myself even in that game, and I get it. It's Dallas, and it was Cowboys week. I found myself bored with the game. We punched him in the mouth. It wasn't even a competition, and I was focusing on Thursday, on Sunday. How often do we get to do that? So it was a good weekend, but a boring one.
Now, Black Gritty, I remember last week when I was in here, I was trying to explain how I was getting a little, having a little trouble getting juice for the game because it was Cowboys, but no Dak Prescott. Cowboys are a dumpster fire, and you corrected course immediately, saying this is the Cowboys. Let nothing get twisted. How you feeling after that win?
I feel excellent, because first, we haven't won. Jalen hasn't won in Jerry's World. We haven't won out there in Dallas in a while. And I don't care what their record is. I don't care what's going on. You could tell in that first quarter, besides the sun, they were trying to throw everything they could to stop Saquon. Everybody's like, why did they run the ball? I'm like, dude, they got extra men on the field in the box. Like, they're telling you, like, you've got to be there because we're not getting highlighted. And they still got highlighted a couple of times by Saquon Barkley, but they cared. Micah Parsons came out there. He was fresh as a daisy, apparently, off his podcast, had a little extra juice and his giddy up. But at the end of the day, they got shut down. If it wasn't for the sun, it would have been like 92-0. The fact that the owner of the the team is crying about, we know where the damn sun is. Yes, your engineers also told you where the sun was. And for a while when you're winning, you think it's an advantage to you. But your own players say that it's hard to see.
Hey.
I'm thinking next time you go there, you need to wear those Mike Vick. Remember Mike Vick used to have that ultra black. You know what I mean?
Then you get sponsored by Shady Rays.
You get some Shady Ray vibes in there.
Just put these on right now then.
Right? Because you just couldn't see. CeeDee Lamb is running with his hands out.
Yeah.
Expecting the ball. Bro, it's just embarrassing for a $1 billion playpen to have so many issues, problems. Remember those punts that used to hit the screen? Then punters had to adjust to that. Like, it's what you expect when you're in Dallas. Just fumbling and stumbling and bumbling all over yourself. And I appreciate each and every play and the fact that we got to sit our guys in the fourth quarter, get some rest for a short week ahead. So I was thoroughly pleased.
Jason, you're absolutely right, because it was a boring game, and the fact that it was an ass thumping. And Gritty, to speak to your point, it's even more of a boring game because the lead coming out of the game is the friggin' sun. And it's not only the sun. Like, this is a known issue. This is not the first time this has come up. Despite what Jerry Jones says and despite what CeeDee Lamb says, this has been an ongoing issue of that stadium. And for the life of me, I can't understand how people actually sat at a real table and had a real boardroom discussion with real professionals and looked at MetLife Stadium and said, yeah, let's make this giant, like, personality-less, absolutely charmless, car radiator looking stadium, air conditioner looking stadium in the middle of a swamp, and let's have two teams play. I don't know how that happened. B, I don't know. Like, Jerry, what are you doing? Like, your engineer, you built this giant monstrosity to excess called AT&T Stadium. The biggest, going to fit the most fans, with one giant flaw. Jerry, are you trying to, like, anticipate or recreate the lights that you're not too far from walking into? Don't walk into the light, Jerry. Don't walk into the light. We need you to stick around, okay? We need you to stick around, because the longer you stay here, the more the Cowboys are going to be a mess. This isn't a new thing. This has been a problem in that stadium. Picturesque? Sure, the photos look amazing, but I've never seen a stadium where it's more beneficial to lose the coin toss because you get to choose what side of the field you're going to be on.
The sun always rises and sets in the same position every time.
Isn't it?
So the engineer could have just had to go north and south and you'd have been fine. Or use the curtains, or tint the windows, or have it be the way it is. The thing that's funniest the most about it is after that game, like you said, everyone was talking about it, I went back and just looked at how many games were having this issue last year. If there's a little bit of clouds out in the sky, you're okay.
Yeah.
But it was just no clouds, no rain, hasn't been any rain, and that sun was just magnified cooking all over that field. And it looked majestic as fuck. It looked so majestic. Those
Good
pictures,
save.
it looked like a Renaissance theater. Like, I was like, man, this is, and we were winning, but it just looked elegant. You know what I mean? All the freeze frames of it, but
the freeze frames are what did it for me. It made for some very picturesque shots.
Yeah.
And obviously a lot of it goes into, well, what time are you playing? Do you have the 1 o'clock game? Do you have the 4 o'clock game? Right? All that matters. The thing that I'll give you a different slant. The thing I actually really did appreciate about it, and I think a lot of people don't, is Jerry's response to it.
Really?
Honestly, I think where Jerry was coming from was he's frustrated with his team.
Yeah.
He just got embarrassed by a division rival. He knows that his season is all but over. They're going to do that soft tank, and he doesn't want to hear it. I don't want to hear the sun. They didn't lose that game because of the sun. I don't want to hear about the sun when we're playing like trash. This isn't the first week that Dallas has struggled. This is the first time that they've got blown out at home. So I think all he was doing was expressing his frustration, and I appreciated that because it was a soft or subtle way to call out his own team to say, hey, boys, stop bitching about the sun. The sun isn't the reason you lost. Yeah, to his point where he said, what do you want to do? You want to tear the stadium down? Right? He's calling his own players out, and I like that. I like that because just like we're calling our players out, he's doing the same damn thing. Don't talk to me about a sun. I enjoyed that.
And there's something to be said about, like, people complaining about the sun now. Again, this has been an ongoing issue at that stadium with that time of game. And for whatever reason, the national media keeps slapping these schmucks up on primetime, America's game of the week with America's team. Monday night football, Sunday night football, Thursday night football. Always trying to showcase the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are an absolute dumpster fire. And before the season started, I had the inkling, the one concern that, man, I don't know, Jerry Jones might be actually figuring it out. Even though he's getting a little older and getting a little more insane, Jerry Jones always tends to seem to throw bad money. The dude throws more bad money than Pac-Man Jones at a strip club. You know what I mean? He just throws money at problems, and the wrong kind of money, because he doesn't know how to build a team, right? So it's always an issue. And I thought for a second, oh my God, the Cowboys have figured it out. They know that they're going to have to cut bait with Dak Prescott because he ain't the guy. They know that even though CeeDee Lamb is a premier wide receiver in this league, that, with that, they're going to have to rebuild. And what do they do right before the season? Not Howie Roseman, who gets his extension in early because he knows $1 today is worth 80 cents tomorrow, signs not one but 2 wide receivers. Why? Because we got to get that in before the Justin Jefferson deal. The Cowboys and Jerry Jones play none of it. They go and spend that bad money. CeeDee's losing it in the lights. Dak Prescott isn't even on the field. And it is boring, but it is to watch the Cowboys absolutely melt down.
But I feel like I got robbed of a week of football, though. I really did. Because I went and, you get all hyped up, and I got a quarter of emotion. I got a quarter of frustration or anxiousness. I got a quarter of suspense, if you will. And then my weekend got put in cruise control.
Yeah.
And then I started focusing on, wow, what do I want to eat? What do I want to drink? What do I want to talk? I'm sitting in front of the television watching the game, but it just became not an afterthought, but I wasn't locked into every single play because for me, the outcome was determined already, and I was just kind of focusing on certain things. I'll take those every day and twice on Sunday. Don't get me wrong. But I think we went into it with a little more intrigue or a little more, oh, yeah, it's Dallas week. Here we go. It's a division game. You never know. Felt like I got a little robbed. Don't worry. I think Thursday night's going to double up on that. I think that might be just what the doctor ordered. Got to get a couple guys some rest heading into a short week. So I look forward to this Thursday night and seeing if we can get some of that suspense back.
So I think along with the Cowboys and the Cowboys hat, we can just kind of crumple that up and toss it in the rear view because there's no.
But you put out you commented the little video you made with Saquon and Micah Parsons. Let me just tell everybody. Micah Parsons is never going to be a Philadelphia Eagle. I don't want him to be a Philadelphia Eagle. If we got him for free and didn't have to trade for him, and he just came here, I wouldn't want him. I don't like his attitude. I don't like his demeanor. I don't like the way he doesn't show up in the postseason. This guy is a complete dumpster fire, and he will ruin your locker room. The fact that he could stand there and talk about his teammates and his head coach, calling him Mike, couldn't even call him coach, the way that he did, and then go within less than 2 hours, go and say, the media is twisting what I said. Bro, you stood there very concise and calm, angry after the game and the loss, and threw this man under the bus when he's done more than everybody on your team because he has a Super Bowl ring. And then you want to cry about the media? Newsflash, bucko. You're in the media. You got a dumb podcast like we do. You do it every week. Sitting here talking like you know stuff, but you don't. Criticizing other players left and right. Then you got to backtrack that and walk it back. So shut up and play, or shut up and play for the Dallas Cowboys. Because I don't want them on my team. I hate when everybody brings it up. Hey, I got one Penn State over here. We are. That's all we need. We don't need another we are. They are. I can stay over there. I don't want Micah Parsons anywhere near this team messing up my locker room.
Interesting. I mean, I don't know about you, Jay, but
I'll talk to the sane one here. So if he's
take
free,
him in a heartbeat.
Bro, if he's free, you're taking Micah Parsons.
I'm not trading for him.
Well, then he's not free. You're still paying $150 million.
You said free. You said
I mean free, like not
free.
trading anything.
Yeah.
But you still got to pay him.
Oh, yeah.
You have to pay him.
Yeah,
Look, and I get it. Micah Parsons is a head case, right? And Micah Parsons says things he shouldn't say. I get it. Micah Parsons is one of the best edge rushers in the NFL, and we're sitting here talking about bitching about how Bryce Huff. We spent $51 million on Bryce Huff, and we can't get any pressure outside the edge because we understand how important that is. We even spent time talking about, what would I give up for Myles Garrett, right? If you have an opportunity to get a premier edge rusher in this league, you do it. I'm not saying they should. I'm not saying that they will. I'm just saying that for the knuckleheadedness of Micah Parsons, he's a damn good football player. Now, I will say this. I also think some of what he said got misconstrued a little bit. I think when he said Mike can go wherever he wants to go, he's talking about he's a coach. Coaches will get another gig. Coaches will get another job. So he doesn't, like Mike McCarthy, that's one thing. He can go wherever he wants to go. I think he was saying he's a coach and he'll get another gig. He feels bad for the guys that this is the end of the road for them. Where Micah lost me was the end of it, where he said guys who have put in more time than Mike McCarthy ever has. That's the part I don't get. That's the part where I went, oh, you dumbass. Like, bro, you can't say that. Because Mike McCarthy, right, wrong, or indifferent, is putting in twice the amount of time than all the players. It's their job to get the players ready. They're the ones who are spending all the time at the facilities. They're the ones putting in 16, 20-hour days, not the players. Their job is to get the players ready for Sundays. So that's where he lost me on that last comment. But all that, if you're telling me I have my druthers and there was an opportunity to bring in a premier edge rusher, yeah, I'm doing it.
You could lose 3 guys last year and you had locker room and culture issues. You lost 3 guys. Was it Kelsey that was the locker room issue? Probably not. Was it Cox? I mean, probably not. Why didn't they bring Hassan back? So you bring in one guy that has these issues, that only has 1 sack in the playoffs and gets shut down when it matters most, when the lights are the brightest. No, thank you. Not for me.
Micah Parsons aside, isn't it really the tale of 2 cities? And it always is with the Eagles and the Cowboys. Because even though we can't necessarily relate to what the Cowboys are going through and relate it to the epic collapse of last year, right? Did you see any Eagles players calling out the coach or talking about how many hours they're putting in or bringing people on their podcast to kind of dog the organization? Did you see anything that was happening with the Cowboys now happening during the darkest of times under Nick Sirianni's Philadelphia Eagles? No. What BG told us was to stay the course. What Jordan Mailata, who we'll see on Thursday, said is we've got his back. All you kept hearing are guys backing the head coach, even though when we were dogging, we were down on Nick Sirianni.
The only person on the team that seems like he doesn't but does now like Nick Sirianni is Jalen Hurts. He doesn't like him, but everybody else rides for Nick, so it is what it is.
It's almost like they have a good culture there or something. It's almost like Nick is building something there. I don't know.
Culture. It almost seems like culture matters, and the Dallas Cowboys have none of it, and they will be having none of the postseason this year either.
So would that, not to get off on some Micah Parsons topic, but would that change anyone's mind at all if you knew you were bringing a guy into a place that had a strong culture? Because he has no culture, and he's got no leaders, and he has nobody to look up to or to guide him in Dallas. Does it change your mind or your perception at all if he comes into a locker room where the locker room polices itself? They have a way of conducting and carrying themselves, and he would have to fall in line?
See, that's the thing with the Dallas Cowboys. Like, who are the veteran guys? Who are the veteran?
Zack Baun.
But yeah, Mike is supposed to be that guy.
At this point, almost, yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of supposed to be the team leader, the best player on the field, the guy who leads the locker room. I think when you get guys, like, let's make no bones about it. When they drafted Jalen Carter, it came with baggage. Like, they understood that we're going to have to pay close attention to this kid. When they brought Chauncey Gardner-Johnson in and back in, Chauncey gets a little rough around the edges. What I like about the Eagles and this culture and this, you got a BG. Even though Kelsey retired, he's still around. You got a Lane. You've got all these you got a Saquon. Or you got all these veteran guys, whether they're homegrown here or they were brought in from other places that fit that kind of culture. And I like what you said, police the locker room. Unlike Doug Peterson and Josina Anderson and Alshon Jeffrey during the last era, the unfortunate end to the Super Bowl Doug Peterson era, there was rats on the ship. Even though the Eagles, listen, Nick Sirianni yelling at the fans and going through the collapse and ups and downs and making the Super Bowl and blah, blah, you can argue all you want. There's no rats on the ship. There's no rats. They called in the exterminator. Viking got in there, killed all the rats.
And that's, Nick said it this week where he was talking about he wants to, and I'll quote him, he's like, he wants to do special shit.
Was that on Unscripted? I think I saw that on Unscripted.
He said, I want to do special shit. And you don't do special shit alone. So it's like, we can talk all we want and we can win 10 games and we can do this, that, and the third, right? But all you need to do is continue to come together, continue to grow together and become that family, that unit. I think that is what he's trying to build. Like, obviously, you have to be a talented roster. Obviously, you have to have good coaching and good players, but you also have to become a collected unit. And I think he's working towards that. And I think that's part and parcel to the reason where you're talking about you don't have those rats on the ship, because you make sure that this team and this roster and these players don't have that in their DNA.
And that's so important. And it's such a hallmark of the Philadelphia Eagles, unlike the Dallas Cowboys. So I think collectively we can now, just like the hat, we can take the Cowboys, we can throw them in the rearview mirror, because by the time we see them again, chances are we're going to be already running into the playoffs or maybe even seeding starters. So while we're going to talk about Washington coming up, let's first go ahead pay some bills. It is never ordinary at Bet365. Bet365 has 90 million users worldwide. Bet365 live streams 780,000 events per year. Early payout offers across NBA, NFL, NHL, and MLB. Bet365 pioneered live in-game betting, and today, Bet365 offers the widest range of games and markets available for live in-game betting across 78 sports. Right now, if you open up a new account with Bet365, they're going to give you $200 in bonus bets. So here's all you got to do. You deposit $10. You go to Wawa, you buy a shorty, you buy a drink, an iced tea or something. That's $10 right there. I'm not saying don't buy your shorty or your iced tea because that's important, but take some of that money, right? Take that $10, put it into Bet365. All you got to do is bet $5. They're automatically going to give you $200 in bonus bets that you can do anything that you want with it. In fact, let's take a look at some of the games this week. Let's take a look at some of the lines, shall we? Eagles, Commanders, Thursday night football. Eagles are giving up 3.5 points. Why are you laughing?
I love how you fall into this role. I love it. You're such a good read now. I love it. Go ahead.
Hey, listen, you take one thing, you focus on it, you perfect it, and that's what Bet365 did. They focused and pioneered live in-game betting, right? So Eagles are giving up 3.5 points to the Commanders tomorrow night. Cowboys, again, why is this on Monday Night Football? Why are they jamming the cow? Can they flex things out of Monday night, please? Texans are going to put a shellacking on them. Texans are giving them 7.5 points. That spread keeps growing and growing as the weeks go on with the Dallas Cowboys. And luckily, thankfully for all of us, the New York Giants are on a bye, so we don't got to watch that. But there is some other NFC kind of key important games that we're going to get into as we start to look at this playoff picture, right? Green Bay giving up 5.5 points at Chicago, Seattle plus 6.5 at San Francisco. So as there's a couple playoff teams as the playoffs started right now. Some people on the bubble. If you deposit $10 and bet $5, you get $200 in bonus bets. Must be in Pennsylvania. And if you or someone you know are suffering from gambling addiction, please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Dude, come on. Throw it up top.
Yeah, thank you.
That's a read.
Yeah,
all right, so that. I told you earlier that I was sitting on the couch Sunday and it was a boring game. We're going to jump right into this. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to eat, but we all knew what I was going to drink. It's very simple. It was this pretty little Pilsner right here. And everybody here at the Cheap Seats would like to thank our friends over at Miller Lite because the choice was easy. Why? I got great taste and it was less filling. You don't have to choose what's best because, as I said, Miller Lite has great taste and it's less filling. It tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/PHLY Birds, or you can find it at basically any store that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories per 12 ounces, fewer calories and carbs than any other premium regular beer. Done.
Nice.
Bills paid.
So, all the jokes aside, you guys be asking for stuff, bother me in the text messages on the show, trying to have me be happy and hyped and stuff like that. I say one little thing, y'all get hyped up about it. So I made something special for y'all.
Yeah.
Woo!
We're wooing.
Woo Player of the Week brought to you by nobody until we get a sponsor. So Woo Player of the Week can be any player in the league that we want to choose, and we're gonna play a game so the audience knows. We're not going to tell each other whose Woo player we pick.
Okay.
So that way, going forward, if one of us picks somebody and this is how you wanted, then you got to pivot on the spot.
Ooh.
But every week we'll start with a new person. So this week I'm going to lead off.
I think it should go in reverse order. I think it should go you, Ashworth, and then if you guys pick my guy, I'm screwed.
Exactly. So
Okay.
that's how we're going to play the game from now on.
I got notes.
Yeah, you
got notes?
I
I got notes.
Prepared.
Yeah, both of these guys, they got notes. He got his book back. He got notes. Everybody writing down stuff. So anyway, back to my woo player of the week. One thing I got a little bit of slack on from two people. our first episode, I was talking about Quinyon the Don, the mafioso kid coming out here shutting down people. And everybody's like, oh, you talking like he's got a gold jacket. I'm like, I didn't say he was going to be in the Hall of Fame, but I instantly realized he could be in the Eagles Hall of Fame. And after week 10, that one person did come back in the comments and say, you know what, you're right. He is top 10. I was like, bro, he top 5. Top 5 dead or alive in this league. A Sauce Gardner, you ain't heard never word about Sauce Gardner, okay? So I'm talking about Guantanamo Bay, Quinyon Island, whatever you want to talk about. I call Tubbs and Crockett. Him and that other dude, I ain't going to say his name because I don't know if I want to take somebody else's player. But, boy, they out there locking people down. And this week especially, your number one wide receiver from the Washington Commanders stays on the left side primarily. So Quinyon the Don's going to be up against him at least 70% of the game. Shut that Miami Jamie down. That's my player of the week.
So let me understand the levels here. It have to be Eagles. We can go. Can we go outside the bounds? Can I pick any player I want?
You could pick a Dallas Cowboy. If Dak Prescott throws us 5 interceptions.
Not if I don't have my hat on me, I won't.
If Dak Prescott throws me 5 interceptions, I'm taking Dak Prescott. I appreciate you.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So then I'm going to pivot. If y'all don't mind, I'm going to pivot because it's what 7:27. We're about 3 minutes away from Sixers tip off, so we'll probably be welcoming a crowd in to watch us versus the Sixers game because there's no Embiid and there's no Paul George again tonight here,
and there's no Drummond,
right? And there's no so welcome Sixers fans. I'm going to pivot and I'm going to give you Jared McCain, the rook out of Duke. Came in, I mean, I think personally, I think he's had a big week. I'm a Sixers fan, right? Yeah. So I do enjoy some Sixers basketball. I think he's had a big week. Dropped 18 against the Lakers, dropped 27 against the Hornets. Last night against the Knicks, dropped 23. He's getting about the last 3 games, he's had over 30 minutes a game, and he's shooting over 40% from 3. And this is out of a rookie, where Nurse was kind of, in the beginning, we were just kind of milking him. Where's he at? Can he play? The thing I love about the kid, he's a shooter, right? We're finding out that, okay, this kid's a shooter. He's not scared of the moment. God, I love the fact that he's not scared of the moment. He'll attack. He's a finisher at the rim. He doesn't shy away from anybody. And to be a handful of games in the season, just a baby, in your infancy in the NBA, and to show a little bit of cojones like that, for me, just in terms of prospects on the season, who we thought we were getting, who the kid may be, I think he's surprising a lot of people, even myself included. I enjoy watching him. He's going to get my, ready for it? Woo! Of the week.
I love it. Well, quick couple of shout outs in the comments here. Brent Wentz. With Wentz Auto Body up there in Northeast PA, I have visited fine folks. Unlike the other Wentz, right? They will take good care of your car's auto body and always meet expectation. So I appreciate you. And Alfred, I see you out there too. My Woo player of the week just happens to be the NFC Defensive Player of the Week, which is the first time that's happened to an Eagles linebacker since Jeremiah Trotter, all the way back in 2005, almost 20 years of linebackerless Eagles NFC Defensive Players of the Year. The highest rated linebacker in each of the last 3 weeks, accounted for a takeaway in the last 3 consecutive games. Pro Football Focus, and listen, I understand I'm not a big fan of Pro Football Focus, but when the stats are tilted in my favor, I will cite them as an example. 3rd best off-the-wall linebacker, 2nd best coverage linebacker behind only Fred Warner, and that would be Philadelphia Eagles' own Zack Baun, who is one of the most amazing gems that Howie Roseman and Vic Fangio gave Howie Roseman the credit for finding. We always thought it was It was a Vic Fangio pick. It was a, hey, get me that guy. No, Howie was in on the situation, kind of misplaced him at what
That's
position
what I
he
mean
would
to
play.
say where I say
Kind of misplayed. But if you're a Saints fan, you got to be absolutely sick to your stomach. There was a point in time where like TJ Edwards, right? He went to Chicago. Eagles didn't resign him. Went to Chicago and was like was winning Defensive Player of the Week, highest graded linebacker. And honestly, I felt sick to my stomach. I'm like, we finally got one, and you let him walk out the door. But we knew he was going to be good. Like, we knew he was good. This guy was a special teamer. He was a depth guy. He could have easily been cut by the Saints. And then all of a sudden the Eagles get him. And if you're a Saints fan, you got to be looking at this like, how did we not realize that this guy would be that good at playing linebacker? So that is my woo player of the game.
You know what they needed to do?
What's
The
that?
only thing you needed to do to figure out if Baun was a player or not,
Give him a chance?
take his helmet off. You seen that dude's dome? He's got a skull on top of his skull.
Let me
Like, you
tell-
know,
let me
remember
tell you
back in the
something
day,
about-
Dana Stubblefield? He used to have his helmet, but he had like the helmet on the helmet. Remember that helmet? Anybody? Just
Yeah,
me?
nah,
Well, if you look
remember
at Zack Baun when he does his post game pressers and the light shining down, take a good look. I'm telling you, take a good look. My man has a skull on his skull. It's a linebacker. That's a linebacker dome. That's how you knew right there.
Yeah, he uses the same kind of polish E-Rock does.
Yeah. Well, listen, man.
The shiny glare.
It ain't the glare though.
shiny glare.
Jiu-jitsu guys and linebackers. That's what we do. We're all ball.
Over there,
Jiu-jitsu guys and linebackers.
like it's a bowling ball. Y'all just be in the car driving like this is the life, boy. Y'all just be shining that thing up, boy.
Look at it. Next time you see Zach talk, look at the dome on the dome.
Yeah.
It's twofold. There's layers to this thing.
Extra padding. Is that
I'm
what you're trying to tell
telling
me?
you.
So we're going to start talking about the Washington Commanders game that is tomorrow night. It's a weird week for us. We're actually in a good spot this week being on a Wednesday. So one thing I'll say before we get to that is stop jumping off of a cliff when there's a turnover. Jalen Hurts threw an interception. Guess what? The other team gets paid millions of dollars to make plays too. And you make a good jump on the ball, you get the interception. If you want to be angry about something, be angry about the fumbles. I don't like the fact they didn't hold the one to ball. But again, to the loving of one Micah Parsons, he also is an outstanding player. So when that guy breaks through on you and he's on you and you can't see what's going on in your face, accept the fact that some people want to make turnovers. I watched the game where Goff threw 5 and CJ Stroud, the young lion, threw 4. Like, bro, look around the league over the weekend. A lot of dudes throwing 3 and 4 interceptions. And Goff and Hurts are the only ones that usually overcome those interceptions. So shut up and try to just ride with the team, especially at the beginning. Their first 15 scripted is trash panda level, but don't jump off the board because he had a turnover. It's going to happen. He went 5 games without one. You should be happy.
That's a good ball too.
Yeah.
Like just credit Diggs because it was the right read. Diggs did what Hurts wanted him to do. He manipulated him a little bit and then tried to fit it in there, and he put it where it needed to go. But Diggs made a great play. There's a reason Diggs is considered a great corner in his league. Right. So it's I don't like that it happened in the red zone. Okay, that sucks. But to your point, that's going to happen. When you throw the football, you're going to turn the ball over. The thing with Jalen is what you'd like to see is you can throw picks, but when you're only throwing it 20 times a game, that's where they hurt just a little bit more. If you're throwing it 35, 40 times a game, if you're Josh Allen, if you're Mahomes, you can afford those. All right, you're throwing it 40 times a game. So I would say for Jalen, it's a little more important or critical for him to protect the football because they're only asking him to throw it right now about 20 times a game. But for that throw specifically, it's a good throw. That's there. You're in the NFL. You got to make that throw.
You're throwing 35-40. That's when you end up with those 3 picks in a Josh Allen game. You got a 4-pick game from
You're not wrong.
Goff.
Because you press it too hard. And I realized it did. And it did even, listen, I'll be honest with you. It did even with me. Have me like kind of gripping the side of my chair a little bit. Like, oh, we back to this now? Because the side angle of the interception was not flattering.
But it's going to happen.
Well, like I understand. But the side angle wasn't flattering, right? Because you see Grant Calcaterra shaving his mustache, setting up a card table to play solitaire in the corner of the end zone, just making himself a sandwich, just doing nothing, sitting there doing nothing, wide open. But when you actually take a look at the end zone angle and actually watch the breakdown, Diggs guessed right.
Correct.
Jalen guessed wrong.
Correct.
And that's going to happen sometimes. Listen, I'm not about to jump all over Jalen Hurts. The fumble, flaring the elbow out, not connecting the ball, which, by the way, is a in the running backs room at NovaCare is they have different for each team meeting room. They have like different posters, different sayings. The infamous one, "Hungry dogs run faster," which is still in the offensive line room. That's still a staple of the offensive line room. In the running backs room, they actually have like the biggest poster, the biggest eyesore in the building, which is the way you can connect and hold on to the ball. That's a major point of emphasis. So it's a little disappointing to see him go there. After playing so many clean games, and especially doing this against the Cowboys, he guessed right, you guessed wrong. I'm not going to murder Jalen Hurts about that turnover.
I judge myself very finely on one thing that gives me joy. When I tweet instantly in games and I say something, And then 48 hours later, after watching all 24 myself, and then watching Fran Duffy doing all his all 24.
Yeah.
And when his all 24 lines up to what I tweeted in live moment, I'm like, see, I'm a genius. See, I saw that instantly. Because when Duffy said it, it's
What did? Because
he
I didn't see it. What did he say?
He basically said what we just said. It was a good play on both parts. Jalen saw what he saw. Diggs made a good play on the ball. You can't be mad at that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like it's a bang bang play. The other guy gets paid to do it too. When I watched him, I'm like, yo, he made a great jump on the ball. Good for him because he's been playing like trash the last 4 weeks. He had one shining moment, and that was it for the game and for the last 4 weeks, to be honest. So
we're sensitive to it because we have PTSD. We're sensitive to it because it was in the red zone. Of course, we don't like turnovers, right? Nobody likes turnovers. But it was just one of those where we'll put a bow on this thing. It's just other guys get paid, right? And Diggs made a hell of a play. You move on from it. And there was 3 quarters after that where they just blew the doors off it and said, don't worry about that. We'll clean that up. 34-6. Let's go to bed.
I love it. I love it. So now that we move on to the Commanders, boys and girls, I don't want to understate, or I don't think I can overstate the importance of this game at Lincoln Financial Field on a short week for both of these teams. And I feel like I need to set the table appropriately, because we can look at this and say, oh, it's the Commanders. Yeah, they're hot. Jaden Daniels, so are the Eagles, blah, 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 Thursday Night Football. There is going to be, now that we've approached over the halfway point in the season, an overwhelming sense of urgency as far as this team goes. And now we have to start talking about the playoff race. If the playoffs started today, it would be 1 seed and getting the bye, Lions at 8-1. 2 seed would belong to the Philadelphia Eagles at 7-2. Believe it or not, the Falcons at 6-4 would be the 3rd seed. 4 seed would be the Cardinals at 6-4. Vikings at 7-2 as a wild card, Washington at 7-3 as a wild card, and Green Bay at 6-3. When you take a look at that playoff picture, right? Lions obviously are who they are. Falcons should have won that game. Cardinals don't scare me. Vikings, I'm still trying to figure out whether the Vikings are the truth or not. I'm still undecided on that. They got off to an incredibly hot start. Washington, we're going to find out. Green Bay already beat them. The Washington Commanders, moving forward post Philadelphia Eagles, have the 2nd easiest remaining schedule. The Eagles have the 3rd remaining easiest schedule. Washington has the Cowboys, the Titans, the Eagles, and the Falcons at home. Only 2 away games, Saints and Cowboys, all winnable games for the Washington Commanders. So as we approach and start talking about this Washington Commanders matchup, I can't help but use that as a backdrop as saying, like, listen, this is the one. This is the game that they have to have. There is no more through 5 weeks we can figure it out and find an identity. There is no more, okay, we'll get them back later on in the season. We are now making that playoff push, and having a divisional game tiebreaker against the Washington Commanders when they have such a cupcake easy schedule coming up where they could easily run the table. I cannot overstate the importance of this game tomorrow night.
So let me preface this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the most important Washington Eagles game in the last 25 years.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, the most relevant in the last 25 years, right?
Yes.
And in that 25-year span, is there ever really a point where you could say coming into the game, and I'm talking generalities here, that Washington is better than the Eagles?
No.
Short answer, no. But Washington has beaten the Eagles before. We know this because it's a division game. I say all that just simply to say that anything can happen, right? It's a division game. Washington's a good team. The Eagles are a good team. We'll see where it goes. I have never been more convinced that it is Detroit as the head of the class in the NFC.
Yeah.
The Eagles right on their heels, and then everybody else. And the more I look into it, and the more I could be 100% wrong, we'll find out tomorrow night. But the more I look into it, there's not a damn thing that scares me about Washington. I look through, I'm trying to find reasons to be nervous or try to find what the matchup is or what can they expose. And the more I actually pay attention to it, and the The game has to happen. That's why they play the game. Can you find me a position group that scares you? Like, can you find me, like, where is Washington better? Is it on the line? No, it's not. Is it the wide receiver group? No, it's not. It's the running back? Sure as hell isn't. Is it defensive line? No, probably not. Maybe it's a conversation. It's certainly not the corners. Is it the back end? Is it red zone defense? No, it's not. Is it third down conversions? It's not. Is it quarterback play? It's not. What am I scared of? What am I so afraid of? I get it. They played Baltimore tough. They played the Steelers tough. But outside of that, playing teams tough and losing, I don't know what we're supposed to be scared about with Washington. I've never been more convinced that it's Detroit, it's Philadelphia, and then it's the rest of the muck that you mentioned to kind of who else is going to kind of be vying for playoff spots. Washington doesn't scare me.
Ready.
I don't know about the last 25 years. I know the Commanders won the division a couple of times there because nobody ever wins the division back-to-back, so I'm sure that there was a game or two.
But just talking about like a relevant game is really what
like I said, I don't know the last 25 years. I'm just saying they won a division a few times, so there's got to be a couple of games in there that matter for us that we didn't get. But anyway, them playing people tough does matter. Them going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers matters a lot. One, Tomlin knew he could handle them. He went for that fake punt early and gave them a gift touchdown because he knew he could do what he wanted to do. And he almost messed around and did what we did with Doug Peterson. Almost lost that game. So I appreciate the fact that he went toe-to-toe with them and he banged them up. On a short week, they just went up against a physical team. There's no way they're coming in here on Thursday night playing against the Eagles who got to rest in the fourth quarter and giving us a hard time. So I expected to split with them. They've been playing this tough. Whether they got Heineke, Maneke, Leineke, whoever at quarterback. And now they've got a quarterback who is scary, who is putting up numbers and putting up points across the league. And for the people that say the thing of, well, they haven't played anybody. They lose to everybody who's over 500. We've only beaten one team over 500 ourselves. Yeah. So I just like to be realistic and look at the actual facts of the matter. You play who's on your schedule. You play who's in front of you. I can't change what that is. So this week is the week where we're going to find out about Guantanamo Bay. We're going to find out about DeJong. We're going to find out about if Jalix is going to go out there more than Huff and prove themselves out there on the field. Because now you got to contain a running quarterback, which we haven't had to deal with. We haven't had to deal with a mobile quarterback. So what scares me is how the defensive line especially, where they've been maligned other than Carter, how are you going to handle and contain? Because the Steelers have T.J. Watt, who wipes out one side of the whole entire field. Jalen only had 3 yards rushing, his worst rushing game of the season. So I know we don't have a TJ Watt, you know what I'm saying? And I know we don't have the line that they have. So I'm really intrigued. Am I scared? No. Am I worried about it? Yes, because anything can happen in the divisional game. They're healthy, we're healthy. But again, we've got the advantage on so many points. We're at home on a short week. They got beat up by a physical team, and hopefully they're about to get beat up by another physical team, and we run over them roughshod. But I'm especially excited to see how they handle Daniels because that could give me hope for the Lamar in my future.
And that's fair. You're right. The Eagles don't have TJ Watt, but you know what they do have? The most sacks in the NFL since the bye week. So TJ Watt or no TJ Watt, they're getting pressure on a quarterback. You're right. It's a challenge for them. They're going to have to deal with it. I'm not taking anything away.
That's also a caveat of who we played.
Sure. Now, the Commanders have a lot of similar opponents, too. So I don't outside, like, I get it. They play Baltimore. We haven't played them yet. They played the Steelers. We haven't played them yet. But it's not like they've had some ridiculous schedule. They've had a similar schedule. I look at, I think what we're doing with Jaden Daniels is looking at how he started as he kind of took the league by storm. And he had back-to-back games where he had an 80% completion percentage. This guy's unheard of. If you look at what Washington has done the last 3 games, I mean, they're a Hail Mary away from losing to Chicago, who stinks, and they would be 1-2 in their last 3. They are a team that doesn't play football, apparently, in the second half of football games. I actually wrote this down. I think they've scored like 10 points, 9 points, 6 points in the second half, where the Eagles are the exact opposite. They scored like 27, 20, 10, right? So the Eagles have become that second half team. When you get in the red zone against Washington, and this is big, you will score touchdowns. I think it's 21 out of 30 possessions. They're giving up touchdowns 70% of the time in the red zone. The Eagles, comparatively speaking, it's like 30-some% of the time. The Eagles are actually have the third best red zone defense. Washington has the third worst red zone defense. So I think we get caught up a little bit in how the Commanders started the season and all the hype around Jaden Daniels. Remember, Jaden Daniels had those completion percentage games, right? You would think that would put him leaps and bounds ahead of Jalen. Well, it's not, because Jalen still has a better completion percentage. He still has more passing touchdowns. He still has more rushing touchdowns. He still has a better third down conversion rate. So my point is, we get caught up in who we think Jaden Daniels is, a tremendous prospect.
Oh, yeah.
A very good quarterback, and he's making the argument for him to be the number one pick, or should have been the number one pick. I'm taking nothing away from Jaden Daniels. I'm just saying, leagues tend to figure out a little bit and just temper you out just a little bit as the season goes along. I think he's realizing that a little bit. And I just think it's clear to me that the Eagles are the better team in virtually every aspect and facet of the football game. And I just hope that plays out on Thursday. I see that. I feel that playing out on Thursday. Not a blowout by any means, but I think we'll know it by the end of Thursday night.
Yeah, I was doing a deep dive into numbers, and I'm looking over the numbers and looking over the rankings. And this is the first time I can remember, to kind of speak to your point, that I can remember a Washington team and an Eagles team kind of either being neck and neck or ahead in some category. But this is going to be a pretty even-Steven matchup. And it was almost like Black Grady was reading my notes. Because I was looking for, where is it? Where is it? Where's the thing that's got me nervous about this? Like, genuinely, not spazzing out, but genuinely nervous about the game. And it is Jaden Daniels and how he's able to rush, and the fact that early on in the season, the Eagles haven't been able to kind of get after the pass rusher, but they still have not played. They've been great at it since. Just like you said, after the bye, leading the league in sacks. Am I correct on that one? Leading the league in sacks.
19 since the bye.
After the bye. But we have not played a true dynamic mobile quarterback yet. And that's what's got me worried a little bit about the pass rush, because every quarterback, whether it be Joe Burrow or Derek Carr or even Daniel Jones, who can run, but not like this kid. No. But not like this kid. He might be Vanilla Vic up in New York. It's a different situation down in Washington. That kid is dangerous. How are they going to react when the quarterback's not at the spot where you think he's going to be, which you have in previous weeks have had trouble getting to, right? It's going to take gap integrity. It's going to take creative, because he's still a rook. As great as he's playing, he's still a rook, right? So it's going to take Vic Fangio. This is a Vic Fangio game. You've got to create a defense and a blitz package. You're not going to get at him with 4. To get after this quarterback, but not only blitz him, but maintain some sort of gap integrity where somebody's sealing off the backside. Because as dangerous as we all know and believe, and the numbers are there to prove it, that Jalen Hurts is a dangerous runner, right? We would all agree, like, that's a big part of Jalen's game. Jalen Hurts has 93 rushes, 378 yards, 42 yards per game, and a 4.7 average. Daniels playing one more game, 85 rushing, right? So not as many attempts, 464 yards, 46 yards per game, and a 5.5 average. So he has less attempts, more yards per game, and more yards per average, which is the second highest total behind Lamar Jackson, who, by the way, this is going to be, as soon as you said Lamar, I was like, yes, because I look at this as the litmus test of how you're going to defensively game plan in a couple weeks against the Baltimore Ravens.
And I'll also just put in a caveat again, everything has context to it. When he goes there and he barely beats the Bears, he shouldn't even have played in that game because his ribs were all messed up. And he still went out there and suited up and played the game.
It's the NFL though. Everybody's banged up.
It's not okay.
It is, but you know that everybody's banged up in the NFL. If Jalen Hurts had banged up ribs,
and when
Jalen
Hurts' ankle was messed up and he was playing terribly, and we lost 6 games in a row, and everyone wants to ignore it and act like it's not a thing, it does matter. You're going out there, and there's value that you're going out there, but sometimes you're almost a detriment to your team. And luckily, they skated by with a win. But he went out there, he was still injured, he was hurt. And that's why the team looked the way they did against a terrible team, because the guys out there wincing and not running, scared to death to get hit during the game. But anyway, We'll see how it goes on tomorrow night.
But I do think we look at the Washington Commanders and see an awful lot of ourselves. And I think that's what's got to
He's
be
only
good.
throwing 2 interceptions too.
Yeah,
he's seeing the field.
We do see a lot of ourselves. I think this is going to be a Vic Fangio game because of the defensive game plan and how they're going to utilize their talent, which now they've gotten used to. They found their groove. Everyone's kind of knowing their strengths and their weaknesses. It's going to be up to Vic to move the chess pieces around the defensive board to make sure he's still a rookie, to make sure that you confuse him, number one, and you contain him, number two. And if he's going to beat you with his arm, like you said, you've got Guantanamo Bay over on against Scary Terry. Lattimore's not going to play. But I also think that this has to be a Vic Fangio game and a Saquon Barkley game.
Well, so you know what's interesting? You said that you think it's going to be a Vic Fangio game.
Let's hold on one second
is.
before we finish the defense, because we're on a time thing. We should pay some bills.
Let's pay some bills.
We should, absolutely.
Well, I put these on earlier. My fault. Maybe I got ahead of the game here, but we were talking how bright it was at AT&T Stadium, so I threw the Shady Rays on. And you should too. Let's just get to it. They got a world-class product that doesn't break the bank. You know your boy's frugal. I get in trouble for it all the time at home. You're so cheap. I'm just frugal. I know the value of $1, and the value of $1 is in a good set of sunglasses. You can get them at Shady Rays. They also have the most insane protection program. We've talked about this before on the show. You lose them, you break them, you don't like them, you got 30 days to return them. It could be a year, 2 years, Mr. Dirt at home. You're sitting down watching, you know it. You lost your Shady Rays, you called them up, boom, they sent them to the crib, no problems asked. Exclusively for our listeners at Shady Rays is giving out the best deal of the season. I feel like every week is the best deal of the season. I don't know. Is it me? Is it the read, or Shady Rays just that dope? But this week only, you can head to shadyrays.com and use the code PHLY for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades that are rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people, your boy included.
So I am a credit unioner, and if I was a Philadelphia native, I would be signed up with TrueMark Financial Credit Union. I told you, no world board. They have a community board. They're local. They're operated by you, the people. So if you're local to TrueMark, you should go sign up and get yourself a HELOC. E-Rock. Do you know what a HELOC is?
Ooh. What?
A HELOC.
ELOC. A HELOC, E-Rock. A HELOC is allows you, the homeowner, to borrow against your home equity for a line of credit at a very interest rate.
Okay.
You can take the money out to do an advancement on your house, maybe pay off some bills, do some things. But a HELOC locks you into a nice interest rate out of your house, out of your mortgage. So E-Rock, go get yourself a HELOC and then give your boys some cash on the side. Just take it out for personal reasons. Maybe we'll go on a trip. I don't know. It is what it is. I don't know if the bank's allowed us to do that. I apologize. Don't tell anybody. But go to TrueMarkFinancial.com and remember that they are NCUA and equal opportunity lender, and they're financially insured, federally insured. And for more information, go to TrueMark/PHLY.com. Get yourself a HELOC, E-Rock.
I got myself some Shady Rays. These are nice. These
right?
are
Especially with all the
very
thumbprints on them. I think that's what really brings it out for you.
Yeah, well, when you got
off,
that glare coming through AT&T Stadium to the stairway to heaven that Jerry Jones is going to walk up sooner or later. You know what I mean? It's nice to have some Shady Rays to block out the glare.
I hope that rich billionaire gets a bio heart and bio legs and he lives forever.
Like in Futurama, where it's like the Nixon head, you know, and he's just constantly
just carrying around the head.
I wish him robotic health. I wish he never sees that light that he sees in the stadium.
Right? Yeah. So here what I was going to say. Yes, it's a Vic Fangio game. I think, interestingly enough, though, it's a Kellen Moore game. And I say that because the easiest way to minimize what Jaden Daniels does is what? Keep him off the field. How do you keep him off the field? You run the football, because Washington doesn't necessarily have statistically speaking, they don't stop the run very well. Obviously, we know the Eagles run the ball very well. But the rub is, the nuance is, the challenge is, the shiny toy in the room is Washington loves to go man. They play a lot of man D. You know what Jalen Hurts has been doing a phenomenal job at defeating this year?
Man D.
Man coverage, right? So it's going to be that I know we want to run the ball. We can run the ball. We should run the ball. But damn, they're going man coverage again, and Jalen has been destroying it all year. It's that shiny toy, that flashy object. But can we just launch one down to AJ? Can we pick these guys apart? Because it's sexy and that's fun. And I'm sure the guys in the huddle, I'm sure they want to take advantage of that. So I say it's a Kellen Moore game just as much as a Vic Fangio game, because they're going to have to make sure they stay true to the run, because at the end of the day, keep Jaden off the field, put points on the board. The last 3 weeks, we were talking about the last 3 weeks. I was trying to use it as a sample size. Washington has lost the time of possession battle 2 out of those 3 games. Run the damn ball, keep them off the field, avoid the shiny object, take advantage of it when you have to, but make sure you're built through the ground.
You sons of bitches. You read my notes when I went to the bathroom.
Is that right? Is that what you're going to say?
Oh, you guys read I knew it. I knew I should have taken them with me to read while I'm doing my business. And my first key to victory, Saquon Barkley. This has to be a Vic Fangio game. This has to be a Saquon Barkley game.
Okay.
Because the Eagles have the second ranked rushing offense at 176 yards per game. If there is one glaring hole, statistically speaking, on paper, the Washington Commanders are 28th in the NFL in run defense, giving up on average 142. If you want to keep Jaden Daniels off the field, if you want to keep that offense, which, by the way, putting up 29 points per game, that's 3rd in the NFL. If you want to keep them off the field, you simply have to use the guy you brought in to get you over this hump and get you into the playoffs and be a dangerous weapon. And this has to be a Saquon. They're going to dare you to do it. Nick, don't let him fool you. You just talked about the man cover. They're going to dare you to do it. They're going to crowd that box and put those receivers out on islands, and they're going to dare you to do it. And take advantage when the timing is right. But do not get distracted. Nick sometimes gets to say, oh, they muddled up the middle. We got away from the run. We're taking what the defense get. Now, run the ball, Nick. It absolutely has to be a Kellen Moore game for him to get Nick out of his ear. Just get him out of his ear. and know that, hey, we got to control the time of possession on offense. We got to keep the Washington offense on the field. And the Vic's got to do his thing and just schematically – he's got a big challenge in front of him, but I do think that Jaden Daniels can get confused. He's still a rookie, and they can force him into mistakes.
So let me get this right. I checked my notes. It's an offensive and defensive game.
I paint in broad strokes, bro.
Oh, okay.
I paint in very broad strokes.
I feel like you nailed it.
I might as well just say
absolutely.
It also got a special teams game. Take the points, Nick.
But did you also know if you score more points than the opponent, you win the game?
See, chat. This is why I talk to the chat. They know what they talk about. See, thank you. More points, we get it. Now, it's crazy to me because this is where we're like I said, we're going to find out how good the defense is.
Yeah,
because this offense is putting up points against everybody. Now, the Ravens aren't what they used to be. They're turning more into an offensive team than they are a defensive team, but they still know how to confuse young guys. He does not turn the ball over. I don't think that the Eagles are going to come in and confuse Daniels. I don't believe that. Like, you can't be this far into the season, no matter if you're playing trash pans or not. You played bowls, and you lost that game, but you didn't get mixed up. You know what I mean? You were still having a steady game. So I really want to see how we handle that, but I don't expect to have turnovers. I don't expect to get confused. I hope that we can contain. I hope that now that these guys on the back end hold down these wide receivers, because Elliot Shore Parks, in his wisdom, said that they have elite running backs on the Commanders. And I'm like, where? Like, bro, they have a running back by committee. Nobody's got over 500 or 400 yards. Like, they're not an elite group. They're by committee, and somebody gets off every once in a while. But if we do what we're supposed to do with him and contain him, then that's all that matters. Everything else is going to fall into place. But I'm really expecting the defense to contain him and show everybody that we're legit and we're for real. Because if you do that, then you will get the credibility. We talked about this earlier, coming off the bye, get in the credibility. So we win the games, everybody shows, but then they say, well, you ain't beat, like I said, you ain't beat nobody, bro. You ain't beat nobody. Now, the Washington Commanders haven't beat anybody either, but they are 7-3.
And the media darling, aren't they?
Oh, they are. They are, because you got the young phenom. Their offense is efficient. They're, like you said, the late game heroics and all the other things. They've got all the fun star power. And people just hate Philadelphia in general. And I get it. You got people like me, there's Santa Claus, they bring up all the time, like Negadelphia. I understand why people hate Philadelphia. But at the end of the day, you got to come back to loving Philadelphia. Look sexy in that Kelly Green. Look sexy. And you flex this out? Okay, we're going to give you the best game of the day. You know what I mean? I don't like Nick at all, but he made it one of the better games of the day. It was a very interesting game. There's a lot going on. So tomorrow night, we get some credibility. We get to show everybody and shut everybody down. Vic Fangio is going to contain this kid.
He's not going to get turnovers. I agree. Jaden Daniels takes care of the ball. You're not going to do that. When I look at quarterbacks, Jalen included, but Jaden specifically, the two areas that you want to look at when you're evaluating a quarterback, what do they do in the 2-minute drill, right? What do they do on third downs? Like those are where you're really going to judge a quarterback. And again, I keep going by this sample size of the last 3 games. I keep going back to it. And the last 3 games, let's look Jalen Hurts, for example, right? Before the half, all 3 weeks, boom, touchdown, boom, touchdown, boom, touchdown on 2-minute drives or within 2 minutes to head into the half. Now, obviously, the games have been blowouts, so you can't look at it towards the back end of that. Jaden Daniels has given them a touchdown or 2 in the last 3, but his third down conversions over the last 3 games has dropped significantly. I think they're only converting like 35%, where the Birds and Jalen Hurts are at 49%. Nearly 50% of the time they're converting on third down. So in terms of quarterback play, yes, he's going to be a test. Yes, he takes care of the football. Yes, he is a dynamite athlete, and I think he's the future of the Washington Commanders and potentially the NFL. He's got that look to him, but it's still early, right? And if the Eagles can leverage anything, it's get off the field on third down, something that teams have been able to do to Washington over the past few weeks, and just you have to be fundamentally sound in the 2-minute drill. 2 minutes before the end of the half, 2 minutes at the end of the game, something that they haven't had to be tested with yet. They'll be tested on Thursday, but I look at this matchup, and again, I'm not scared of the Commanders. Maybe I should be. Maybe I'm wrong. I can't find the matchups. We say it every week. This is a matchup league.
Yes.
How are I can't find a matchup that scares me. Point it out. Point the position group out that I should sit here and say, yep, that obviously goes in Washington's direction. I can't find it.
Black Ray, I love what you said about like credibility, because this season has been like, and then we're up, right? And then we're up. But while we're on our ascent, we're talking about things like accountability and identity and things like that. And while the Eagles have come off the bye, post Tampa Bay, which was an absolute disaster, and started racking up wins and started racking up confidence and starting to get, for lack of a better term, their shit together. This is the game. In the backdrop of this is for playoff seeding. This is going to have effect, not minimal effects, major effects on playoff seeding, the division, the path to the Super Bowl, nipping on the heels of the Detroit Lions, who the Washington Commanders have for the remainder of the season, who we have for the remainder of the season. This, if we win, when tomorrow, we get ourselves a little bit of credibility from the national audience. We felt it. Every week we've come in here being like, all right, they're on to something. Okay, they're building. Okay, now they've got their identity. Okay, now things are clicking. Okay, now Nick bald. Okay, albeit, but now he's starting to get his legs underneath him. Now we start to build the credibility around the NFL.
Let me ask you both a question.
Yeah.
One word answer. BG,
Yeah.
I'll start with you. Do you believe in this team? One word answer.
No.
Do you believe in this team?
Yes.
I think that's probably why we differ in our opinions. I think for the first time in a long time, and we're talking about going back to 2023, I'm starting to believe in this team.
Yeah.
I'm starting to look at them and say, okay, hold on. It's different. They're doing things different. Yes, cupcake schedule. I know they haven't played many teams, but earlier in the show, you said you play who you play. That's all you can do. You just play who you can play. Well, they blew the doors off the Bengals, and they blew the doors off the Giants. And in theory, they blew the doors off the Jags. Obviously, there's some context around that.
But they did.
I know.
Do that.
I just said obviously there's context around it. So I'm putting that one back in the pocket. All the stats in the gameplay will say, but I agree, it didn't go out that way. So let's just skip that one. We'll put that one in the pocket. They blew the doors off the Cowboys. And one of the biggest signs of a good football team is when you play inferior opponents, you treat them like inferior opponents.
True.
And you beat the doors off them. And they've done that. And the cause and effect is I'm starting to believe.
Yeah.
And if I'm starting to believe that they're a good football team, then on Thursday night, you show up and you show out, and we leave Thursday night saying, see, I told you that's a good football team. That's where I'm at.
Well, you starting to believe. Just say you believe then, because you asked if we believe, not starting to believe. Or
I believe.
starting
I'm
out.
saying
So
I believe.
I'll say this. I know they're going to win tomorrow. I told you exactly why they're going to win tomorrow. They just went up against a physical team. They have a short week. We're at home. We got to rest. Thursday night games are abysmal trash.
Yeah.
And all the stats you gave about Dean Daniels, I know you just said you play injured. He's been injured the last 3 weeks, and so obviously all his numbers are going down, just like our numbers are saying. I hate doing the thing of where since the bye week, the Eagles are number one in defense. Bro, just tell me what the whole season is, because we played the whole game. Just same way it's a caveat of Jalen Hurts lost the 2 games. He didn't have A.J. Brown. He didn't have Devontae in one of those games, but you still have to go out there and play those games. That's why I love the radio conversation today, which I did not judge into. Is like, well, who's more important? Well, could you win without Saquon? Could you win without A.J. Brown? Or could you win without Hurts? Who's the most important? It's a team sport, bro. But in this league, you take away the quarterback, you have nothing. Saquon could be lights out. When you don't have a quarterback, that's what the Giants look like. And I know our offensive line is better, but that's what it looks like when they put 12 dudes in the box and say, yeah, good luck throwing it. Pick it. You know what I mean? A.J. Brown, you take him off the field. We have Smith. That's why you have Howie Roseman, who takes care of business, gets you another guy. Dots is actually showing up now. It is a full team sport, but you can't discredit what Jalen's doing. I know he's not going to win MVP, and I'm not even trying to get into that discussion because I don't care about that. I'm thinking the way Jalen thinks about that. MVP doesn't matter. Let me get Finals MVP in the Super Bowl. Let's go get that. Let's go work towards that. So this is a step towards that for me. Believing in them when they shut down a legit 29-point a game offense, and it'll make me believe going forward when they have to go play the harder teams. Like, they're going to go play the Rams. That's Philadelphia West. Bro, we go out there and dominate. Like, I mean, there's more Eagles fans out there than there's Rams fans. Okay, I'm worried about them. Oh, you got to play the Panthers? Their drum's broken, bro. Like, who are the Panthers? Who are the Panthers? Their quarterback is out there doing TikToks and dancing because he beat somebody. Oh, the Giants. He's out there moonwalking and excited. So we do have a soft schedule,
right? You see him when he celebrated.
It was so weird. Not for nothing. It seemed like a senior that asked a sophomore out to prom, and she said yes. He's just so happy to get anybody to go with him. Like, I'm like, bro, tone it down. And then Russell was out there doing his little, thank you, Jalen Hurts, for being my quarterback, bro. I swear to Jimmy Crisp. I know rents do, bro, but thank you for being the coolest guy in the room besides Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow pretty cool.
So with the backdrop of how important this game is to the division, to the playoff seeding, how this is going to be a litmus test against running quarterback, this is a short week, banged up, Jordan Melodic. So many things going on in this one game, and the Eagles fans, let's make no mistake about it, this is the one. This is the game. Give me a prediction about what's going to happen. I know you already said they win. Give me a score.
What time are you tailgating tomorrow?
I got to put my daughter on the bus at 7:20.
Damn. We talking about that early?
No, I'll be.
The last one open until 1, bro. Can we reel it back to what?
Yeah, but there's content to be made. There's still content to be made, even though people are just lining up outside of the parking lots. And listen, Thursday night football games are the worst tailgating. Like, it's such a bummer when you see it. Like, oh, home, oh shit, Thursday night, because it's like. There's usually that mad rush on a Sunday, and then that's it. And then, like, everyone else is late to the party. You get 2 rushes. You get a little boop. Because I'm trying to park in Wells Fargo. There's still people from Wells Fargo employees, like, parked. Like, they're working 9 to 5s. And I'm trying to park there to tailgate. Like, get out of here. We're all trying to drink. You know what I mean? Like, stop doing your job. We've got a job. It's always weird. And then, like, everyone tries to rush in at 5 o'clock. Everyone's getting off of work and, like, maybe they got off working out. So there's that second, and then it just becomes it's a terrible tailgating day. But I know the Eagles fans are going to show up and show out, and I'm going to be down there early because there's still content to be made.
All right.
Why do you ask? You going to be down?
I got to go to a shout out to my godson, Elias and E-Money. This is a birthday, so I'm taking my daughter. We're going out to have a family dinner with their family.
Very nice.
At a fancy seafood place. So I might stop by, give my daughter a little taste of the tailgate before we go out to eat.
Very nice.
You know what I mean? So I might text you and find out where the party's at. So the game, 31-27, go Birds.
I don't know why, but 26-17 Birds just kind of pops out in my head. I don't know why. I don't think it'll quite be double digits, but I also don't think it'll be a 1 score. I think it'll be just over that threshold.
This is going to be a tough one, but this is the one. And I do believe, Eagles fans, you know how much I love you. You are going to be, along with Vic, along with Saquon, a major difference in this game because that home crowd getting off work, second wave, no first wave, second wave, or no way. They're going to show up and they're going to show out. They're going to feel energized. It's good. The link is going to be absolutely electric. And I got the Birds winning 31-24. And we do get our credibility.
By the way, now that you both just said that, I lied because I shouldn't have went first. 34-17. The defense is going to prove what I want to see, and they're going to make a believer out of me. 34-17. They're going to shut them down. The offense is going to roll. It's a home game. It's a whooping tomorrow. Because like I said, I know, I'm from the future, bro. I already see it. You go against the Steelers, they put that elbow in the back of your neck, and then you come here in Philadelphia, it's going to be chomping at the bit. It's going to be so loud in there. Like I said, the one thing that I love about the crowd is we are booing our own coach, our own team. You're not doing what you're supposed to do? Boo. What do you think the opposing team gets? And they've got to sit there and listen to. I just got whooped up on, lost a tough game. I'm all emotional. It's Thursday night. There's fireworks going off. And oh man, Philadelphia just says some of the most vile things you could ever imagine. I'm sitting up there in the backdrop.
Are they going midnight greens? It's not blackout, is it?
It's midnight green.
It is midnight green?
Yeah. Midnight green.
Yeah, it feels like a perfect night for the blackout.
I'm not sure they're really doing that because
I don't think
of the
they
whole
are
Kelly
either.
Green thing.
But
And
they had the black helmet week 1.
Yeah, but well, it was Brazil. So I mean, they
usually only do that on Monday night or Sunday night. Which one is it they always do? Blackout. Blackout's like a Monday night or Sunday night thing. One of those games.
Okay.
It's always that.
Any final thoughts before we get on out of here?
PHLY Cheap Seats.com. You can go get the pod on the Spotify's, the iTunes, the YouTubes where you're watching it now. Make yourself useful. Find us on the Instagrams. You know what I mean? Follow us on Twitter. Ashworth be tweeting stuff. E-Rock's over here making movies. I mean, just find us on the internet. And by the way, if you see E-Rock out, have him start signing stuff now. Have him start signing stuff now.
I mean, he's been doing it for 20 years.
No.
He's kind of a celebrity.
But he's not signing stuff. I'm trying to start getting stuff signed. I had him sign a cake earlier for the producer for Julia. Julia had a cake. I had him sign that. I'm just trying to get some E-Rock signatures lined up because I'm from the future, bro. I know what's going on.
Yeah, we burying the lead here. You got a plug from the Birds. You're in some commercials now. I see you throwing out. Well, you look at me. Why you give me the dumb look?
No, because I'm trying to think of which project I got going on.
I don't know. Whatever commercial you were in, where you're holding the phone up and.
Oh no, that was unscripted. That was unscripted. Shout out to my man.
Channel.
Look at you, Mr. Famo.
Shout out to my
got a little
man,
celebrity over here.
Chris Barletto for including me in that one.
As I said, he's in the movies. You gotta get a signature.
Trying to get a signature.
You're going to see a couple collabs. It hasn't been announced yet, but you're going to see a couple collabs with E-Rock and Bird Gang Spirits to honor. They're coming out with a very specific bottle. So you're going to see a couple collabs with that. And listen, if you're enjoying the Bird Fellas series, I appreciate it. We are turning it into like a mini movie. And there will be a very big surprise when the Eagles enter the playoffs. There will be a very big surprise for the Bird Fellas.
Is that the Velour Johns?
Yeah, me
Soprano?
and Robert Williams.
I love those.
Dude, we have so much fun
phenomenal.
doing them. We have so much of that, but there is going to be a surprise cameo at the end of the year.
Okay.
So
don't give it away now.
Stay tuned. I'm not going to give it away. Hey, listen, I got to do. Maybe I'll write it down.
I might be able to help you out
when I sign the autograph.
That's right.
I got a couple people I can get in line with you. Some Sopranos.
Yeah.
Ho ho ho.
Oh, we got to talk after the
Ho,
show.
ho, ho.
Until next time, we appreciate all the support you give us, all the people in the comments. Thank you so much. All the likes, the shares, the subscriptions, the everything. I can't tell you how much it means to us because we enjoy coming in here every Wednesday right here at 7 o'clock on PHLY and giving you this Birds talk. So until next time, we'll see you same spot next week. Let's go Birds.
Get the dub. Get the dub.
We all silly like the mayor.